You're listening to episode 11 of the Afros and Pixie Dust podcast, Disneybounders Unite with Erica. Hey, Dis friends. Welcome to episode 11 of the Afros and Pixie Dust podcast. I am your host, June. What a week. This past weekend, I celebrated my birthday by going to see The Lion King on Broadway. It was my third time seeing it, and I swear it gets better every time. I was in my feelings from the first notes. It's a beautiful show, and if you ever get the opportunity to go see it, please do. This time I got to see the show with two fellow Northeast Disneybounders. I went with Tasha, aka at GAW3000, and Kirsten, aka at Sailor Love Song. And we had such a good time, and it definitely helped get me excited for the live action Lion King movie coming out next month. I got home, and of course I got all the swag. I got home and gave my kids their souvenirs. Every time I go see a Broadway show, I get a playbill. I try to get a playbill signed for my daughter, and she gets a piece of jewelry, and my son gets a stuffed animal from the show. So they got that, and they loved it. And we ended up watching the Lion King movie, and we've been playing the Broadway version soundtrack and the animated version soundtrack nonstop. And we'll probably be this hyped all the way up and through the premiere of the live action version of The Lion King. So it's gonna be lit around here for a while. And of course, I Disney bounded to go see the show. And so if you want to see which character I bounded as, I posted a pic on my Disneygram page at Froze in Fantasyland. And so you can go over there and check it out. And speaking of Disney bounding, this week's guest is Erica. She is from Los Angeles, California. We've had a lot of West Coast Disblurts lately, and I'm loving it. She is from Los Angeles, California, and she is a self-proclaimed Disney nerd. She is an OG Disneybounder, and she's the creator of the Disneybounders Unite Facebook group. She loves to share her Disney love on social media and also through her blog called Castle Cravings. I may or may not have been IG fangirling over her for quite some time, especially after I found out that our birthdays are a day apart. She has been an incredible voice for diversity and inclusion within the Disney community, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. So without further ado, let's get into my conversation with Erica. Hello, Erica. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be
I'm
here.
so excited to have you here. I think you're one of the first Instagram accounts that I started following when I joined.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's pretty cool. I love following yours. You are amazing. Your bounds. This past March challenge, I was just in awe constantly, like literally sending my friends your pictures like, have you seen this girl?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, March was crazy. Like literally. Yeah, it was insane. But let's talk about you. So can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm just a big Disney nerd. I don't really know what else there is to say. I've had a love for Disney since my childhood. It's always been sort of my escape. I would sit in front of my television and rehearse Disney songs like it was my job. I would learn the lyrics. I would recite The Lion King front to back all the way through. And I've just always been so inspired by the magic and the idea that I can dream of anything and work towards a goal and try to make it possible. Mad respect for Walt Disney and what he created with Disneyland. And And now as a mother, I'm just trying to keep that magic alive with my kids because there's just a certain amount of happy that being a Disney fan brings into your life. Like life isn't always happy. We all go through ups and we go through downs and things get hard, but having a hobby that is just so whimsical and just straight up fun. It's just about fun and enjoying life and believing in the impossible. And I really feel like in a lot of ways it's just kept me going. Being a part of this community has kept me going, making the friends that I've made. It's just become a really important part of mine and my family's lives. So happy to be a part of the magic.
Awesome. Are you born and raised in California?
I am. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I've been all over. I actually grew up on the west side in Culver City for my like younger formative years, and then we moved to the South Bay area. We were actually living in Inglewood for most of my adolescence. And then my husband and I met my husband, also born and raised in the South Bay. We lived in Las Vegas for a while because LA is expensive. And so we were kind of just, we were young and getting our lives started before we were married. And we wanted to move in together and realized we couldn't really afford it here. So we went to Vegas for a while where my mom was living, and got our lives started, got our career started. And then we were able to come back, which wasn't initially the plan, but we just kind of decided like we spend so much time going to LA to visit our friends and family here, to go to Disneyland. We decided that this is really where we wanted to be. So we came back about 2 years ago.
Oh, cool. Oh, so you lived with the kids in Vegas as well?
Yeah. So my daughter Zoe was born in
Oh,
Vegas, and we moved there with Caleb when he was about 4.
I've never moved out of New York, and
Really? I've never been to New York, and it is on my list. I want to go so
hopefully let
badly.
you know when you're coming.
I will.
Yeah, you'll have a great time for sure. So you talked a little about how your love of Disney started, and I heard you mention The Lion King. What are
All time.
it's the GOAT. What are some of your favorite Disney movies or shows?
Lion King 100% is my all-time favorite. Do you remember a little while back when that like bracket came out to like kind of compare and contrast to see what your favorite Disney movie was? It wasn't until then that I really cemented my love for The Lion King. And that's when I should have known all along. I really should have, because it was literally just on repeat in my house all the time. But it wasn't until then that I was like, nah, this is my movie. This is my jam. That and Toy Story. The Toy Story franchise is another one that I can just over and over and over again. I'm just so in love with it. And I'm excited that they both have new movies coming out.
Yes.
This very soon,
yes.
this year.
Toy Story is, I guess it's our birthday movie this year.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I always love seeing
June,
what comes out in June. And it's always a good thing. It's always a good movie. Last year was Incredibles.
It is. June is a really good month for movies, for Disney movies. I mean, for movies in general, I feel like summer hits is a thing, but Disney always releases really good hits in June. So
I mean, why not? It's the best month.
Yeah, it is.
So which characters would you say you identify with most?
So I'm taking it out of The Lion King now, and my girl is Ursula. I have always loved her, and I don't know that I so much identify with her like on a personality level, but she's been my favorite since I was younger. And I've pretty much finally pinpointed that I think I'm a plus size girl, and I always have been. And when I was younger, I saw that as a bad thing, just because that's what we see in the media, right? We see skinny princesses, we see like slim and trim and fit, and everyone's telling you like how to lose weight and how to do that. And then you have Ursula, who is just this va va voom, voluptuous, sassy lady who is just so confident and so sure of herself and gorgeous, because I mean, who doesn't love purple and black, right? And I don't know, I kind of fell in love with her. And then she sings and Poor Unfortunate Souls, and I just I don't know, she just really resonated with me and had my heart. So I've loved her forever. But characters that I identify with, I'm also gonna people are gonna be like, what? I gotta say Snow White. Which is really, people are like, what? She's so boring. She doesn't do anything. But I'm a nurturer, and I'm an empath. And I just feel like Snow White, when the movie was made, of course, it was a different time. So she's not adventurous and independent and all those things that, you know, we see in princesses now that we value that are very important. But what she did have is a nurturous nature about her. She was very maternal and loving, and also a survivor. She went through a lot of really hard times and still managed to find a sunny perspective. And I relate to that.
That's really interesting. I can't say I've watched Snow White like completely through. I'm kind of bad. I'm kind of bad with some of these movies.
Some of the classics are like, oh, okay. I feel you. I understand.
But I know the story. I think I've read it. But I haven't watched the movie.
Did you ever watch Once Upon a Time?
I did.
Snow White in that show was amazing. Like, she was. I don't know if I can say badass, but she was that. Okay. Like, I don't know. Okay, good. But yeah, she was amazing. She was just so I think I fell in love with that Snow. And there's also a comic book series I read where there's a character, Snow White, called Fables. And I fell in love with that Snow. And I think that kind of brought me back to Disney Snow White. And I found characteristics that I like about her in there as well.
Yeah, but I can see that, because like, who would decide to just move in with a bunch of I don't know, dudes and take over?
Exactly. But she's like, I mean, I'm gonna do what I gotta do though, because you know.
Okay, so maybe I'll go and watch Snow White and
check. I mean, it was a different time. It was, you know, it was very early, but like, I'd give it a rewatch.
All right, you convinced me. So you express your Disney fandom kind of in every facet of your life. Do you mind just telling us some of the ways that you like to express your fandom?
It all started with Disneybounding, to be completely honest. My sister-in-law sent me a link, because I've always been like the Disney girl in any like circle that I've ever been in prior to finding the Disney community. People are always like, oh yeah, Erica's the Disney expert. She loves Disney. Like, you think you like Disney, but she is a big fan. And so my sister-in-law, knowing that about me, came across some of Leslie's like outfits that she was making for the Disneybound blog. I was not on Tumblr. I didn't know about this blog. I'd never heard the term Disneybounding, but I was on Pinterest. And so my sister sent me some of the Pinterest outfits that Leslie had put together. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to do this. Like, what? These are like, because I've always been a fashion girl too. I love to express myself through clothes as well. And so I'm like, these are Disney characters, but like as clothes, and not a costume, but just like actual, like expressing yourself twofold. So it's like through the fashion, but also like channeling a character. And I just fell in love instantly. So my family had a trip planned to Disneyland. We were still living in Vegas at the time. And I was like, we're doing the Fab Five. So we had my son Caleb as Mickey, my daughter was Minnie, I did Daisy, my husband did Donald, and then my mom and my younger sister were there too, and they did I think Goofy and Pluto. And that was our very first time ever trying Disneybounding. Looking back, our outfits were kind of funny. but yeah, and I just like really got into it. And then I, you know, Googled it more, like to find more outfits. And then it led me to Leslie's blog. And I realized that there were actually other people, and this was all on Tumblr at this time. There were other people that were like, you know, into this, and not only just into that, but other adults my age that were into Disney. And I think that was my first kind of like eye opener. And I realized that people were hosting like events and meetups and things at the parks. And I found Dapper Day. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, people are like dressing up in fancy clothes to go to Disneyland. That sounds really fun. I wonder if people are going to Disney bound to Dapper Day, because it's all brand new to me. So I'm just like, whoa, is anyone like combining these two things? Like, are you going to be Dapper and wear a Disney bound? And I Googled and Googled to see if there were any meetups or anyone was talking about it. And the only thing I found was a guy named Dewey, who's my friend now, who was planning a Disney-bound meetup for the Dapper Day at Magic Kingdom, or I think it was Hollywood Studios back then, but at Disney World. And I was like, well, if no one's doing this at Disneyland, I want to. Like, I want to meet other people who are into this. So I reached out to Dewey, And I was like, do you mind if I copy you? Like, I literally was just like, 'cause I'm like, I'm new to this community. I don't know the rules. Like, is this okay? Can I do the thing you're doing? And he's like, yeah, he was super helpful. He made me a flyer for like the Disney Bound side one. And I mean, we just became instant friends. And so I started an event on Facebook for a Disney Bound meetup at the group. And then, I mean, at Dapper Day. And then Leslie herself reached out, who I did not know at the time. Also, like, one of my best friends now. I did not know her at all, but she reached out and she was like, hey, like, I see that you're planning a meetup. That's so awesome. Let me know if you need any help. She shared it, got the word out. And what I thought was a huge turnout, but as you know, like, later they got even more insane. But I was expecting like maybe 10, 12 people to show up and we could all meet up and kind of ride rides together and hang out. Girl, 200 people joined this event. Yeah, 200 people joined this event, showed up Disney bounding in their dapper clothes, and it blew my mind. And it wasn't even the day of that was so incredible, even though it was leading up to it. We had this event page where we were all just chit-chatting about all the things Disney that we loved, but they were adults. It wasn't in like a childlike space that I feel like most Disney forums had been previously. So after the event, I was a little bit sad about it. And I was like, oh, it's over now. And I just made all these friends. And now I don't like have a place to stay in touch with them. And so I was like, well, what if I make a Disney Bound Facebook group? And so I took those same 200 people and we started a group. And that was Disneybounders Unite. And now I don't even know how many people are in that group now, but it's like 20,000, I want to say. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that was, I guess, not the beginning of the Disneybound community, because obviously it already existed. Leslie had created the blog and there were already people doing it and, finding each other. But it was definitely cool to kind of like have that place where we could kind of like know to go to find other people and make friends. And I've made so many friends and through that group and through Instagram as well. And it's been really cool.
Yeah, I joined your group maybe about, I think, a year or so ago. During the challenge last year, I think is when I joined the group.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, there's one place for everyone to kind of share their balance, and you can like see how other people kind of show their fashion and style. And because the whole point is so I guess we should go back and explain what Disney bounding is. Do you mind doing that?
No, not at all. So Disney bounding is I should also say who Leslie is. I just started saying Leslie and I'm like, people are supposed to just know who my homegirl is. I mean, most people do. She's actually pretty huge. If you're a Disney fan at all, I'm sure you do know who I'm talking about. But in case you don't, Leslie Kay is the creator of Disney Bound, and she started a Tumblr a while back when she was planning a trip to Disney World with her friend, and it was like a place to channel their excitement, which is why she called it Disney Bound, because she was on her way to Disney, bound for Disney. And she's always been a fashionista. Like, she's super great at putting outfits together, and she was putting together Disney inspired outfits. So she would I love the Snow White example just because it's primary color, so it's such an easy bound to do. So like, for example, if you take a blue top and maybe add some red accessories, a yellow skirt or yellow pants even, and then maybe like an apple purse or apple earrings. And it's just basically taking inspiration from the character, but putting into your own outfit. There's a lot of color blocking involved usually, using patterns that are similar to the character, using accessories that are something that the character would have. So basically kind of, if that character were in the modern world, what would they be wearing? And that's Disney bounding. And I like to say that because a lot of people are like, oh, so it's like a costume but with real clothes, and it's not. I mean, people do it differently for sure, but for me, it's not so much a closet cosplay. It's more of just like, no, this is my outfit, this is me expressing myself through clothes with inspiration from this character. So that is Disney bounding.
Yes, that's a great way to describe it, because it's kind of hard to like explain, because everyone automatically kind of goes to that cosplay.
It's hard. It's tough. And also because if you are a cosplayer, naturally this is something that you're going to be into, because adults can't wear costumes to the Disney parks. It's against the rules. And so I think a lot of people latch onto it because they're like, oh, this is kind of a workaround. And it can be a great workaround. But also there's boundaries that kind of get blurred. And again, like, no shade, because do it how you want to. But the whole point of not allowing adults to wear costumes to the parks is so that other guests don't confuse you as a cast member. And so if you're wearing like a character wig or your outfit's too literal and it looks like you could possibly be an employee, then that can be a problem. And so yeah, there's kind of a fuzzy line. I mean, if you're just doing it for the sake of it and just taking a picture and like you're at home or whatever, then yeah, wear what you want and whatnot. But the idea behind Disney bounding, though, generally speaking, is that it's not a costume.
Right. And it was like a no-brainer for me because I'm learning, but I'm not quite skilled in the cosplay community. And so I was like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah, I'm a big cosplay lover too. I am not a cosplayer, but I admire it so much. I love it. I'm never been a person that sews, but there's been a couple opportunities where someone who is a cosplayer or a seamstress or makes costumes has offered to make a costume for me. And it's just so much fun to get dressed up. So that community and that art definitely has its place too, and it's amazing. It's just they are different things and like in my mind very separate.
Yeah, definitely. So let's keep talking about your Disney bounding. So what year was that when you all did your first Disney bound?
Oh my gosh. I want to say let's see, Zoe was a baby, so I want to say maybe 2013 sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, she was born in 2012, and I want to say she was maybe about one by the time I first brought her to the park. So I'm gonna say like 2013.
Awesome. And that's about 6 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Wow. So yeah, you're OG in this game then.
Been at it for a minute, and it's been awesome to see how much it's grown and how many more people are doing it. There's celebrities Disney bounding, which is amazing, and Disney's really embraced it. Also, Disney's really kind of taken it in as like this is a thing now, and like kind of putting it out there. And they've collaborated with Leslie several times, and putting more Disney boundable clothes into Disney stores and really encouraging it at the parks. And I love that. I love seeing that.
And then this last Infinity War premiere, like it looked like a majority of the cast was Disney bounding a little bit.
Yeah, isn't that cool? That was awesome.
Yes. And then there's that viral photo of Robert Downey Jr. in his Snow White outfit.
Yeah, whether intentional or not.
I want to say he kind of thought about it just a little bit.
I feel like, even if it was subconscious, I feel like he knew
him
what
or
he
his
was
stylist,
doing.
either one.
Yeah.
So how do you come up with your looks?
Well, for starters, I check out Disneybound.co, which is the Disneybound blog. And Leslie Kay puts together fabulous outfits, Disneybound outfits every single day. She's posting brand new ones. So it's always a great place to start for inspiration for me if I don't know, where I want to go with the character. Now that I've been doing it for a while and I kind of have like my own style and what I like to do is kind of, this is the way I prefer to do it. I'll tell you what I actually end up doing later. But the way I prefer to do it is to just go shopping and kind of look around at what speaks to me. Like what looks like, oh, hey, this would be really good for Donald Duck, or this kind of reminds me of Esmeralda. This could be Tiana. And then kind of build from there, like find one staple piece that reminds me of a character and build on it from that. What actually ends up happening is I usually get the idea to bound, or a lot of times I bound with friends, or like, oh, let's do the princesses, or let's do the Fab Five or Goofy movie. And I pick the character first. And then I have to look in my closet and say, like, I pull out everything that could possibly work for that character. And then I go to Amazon Prime and just go wild and try to find accessories and things that like just kind of fill in the blanks of what I don't already have. And that's my least preferred way, because I really prefer to like just kind of go shopping and let the inspiration strike, because that's how I get my best bounds. And when you find like that thing that's just really, really perfect for that character, where people are like, how did you even find this? Because it's usually because I wasn't looking for it. But the other way works really well too. I like to just pull from my closet, see what I already have, and just try things on. It's really fun.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have a hard time trying to keep your own personal style in your looks, or because you pull from the closet?
Sometimes. I mean, that's the benefit of pulling from the closet, is that I try really hard, and I've been guilty of this in the past, and like I've been Disneybounding for so long, as I continue to do it, I'm moving away from buying pieces just for the bound. I try to like really look at something and say, does this fit my style? Is this something that I'm going to wear a lot outside? If it's not, I try not to get it. And that also helps with the costume aspect too, because sometimes people find it really hard to not go overboard and go a little too like on the costume side. I only say costume, there's nothing wrong with costumes, but it's just that bounding is about fashion at its core. And so there's nothing wrong with costumes, and it's great. And I love to dress up in costumes as well. But when I'm Disney bounding, I really want to make sure that the fashion element is coming through and that it is my own style, and that whatever I'm saying, like though I'm inspired by a character, I also want to say like Erica, like, this is a me outfit. So I really work hard to try and hold myself to that, but it's hard sometimes, because sometimes you do say something that like, oh, this would be perfect for this character, but then it's like, but would I wear this in real life?
Yeah, I feel like I do that too.
Yeah.
But then I also like gravitate to very similar silhouettes and styles. Like I was looking in my closet the other day, and I have this one like bodysuit in every color imaginable because it's like it's perfect. It's a tank top.
Yeah.
But it is what
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, on the contrary, is that Disney bounding can grow your own style. You can develop your own personal style, because maybe you don't really have a personal style yet, or maybe you have one, but you realize that you can like kind of go outside the box a little bit. Because so if you are taking those risks and going for like, well, what would the character wear? And it may not be something that you would have worn before, but you go ahead and try it and then realize, you know what, I really like this silhouette on me. And then you end up buying more things that are similar to that item. So you never know. It can actually grow your style too.
That's true. That's really true. Like I love black. and now I actually have color in my closet. I'm like, gosh, what's going on here?
Yes. I mean, that essentially is what happened to my husband. He used to be a very like blues, grays, blacks, like that was his entire wardrobe. And now it's just super colorful. He can pull, because he Disney bounds with me so often, he can just pull any color out of his closet, and he loves it. He loves having a more colorful wardrobe. It's more fun. And yeah, so
I mean, I think it's just fun in general. And
yeah, it's super fun.
Use your imagination.
And yeah, absolutely. It's a creative outlet. You're creating art in a way, and it's therapeutic. It's fun to post it because we have a very supportive community, and it's really nice to get those like, oh my gosh, you look amazing, or I love this outfit. Not that you should do it for the compliments, but it feels really good. And it's nice to meet other people who understand and appreciate the same things that you're into. And that's a great way to start if you're looking to get into the Disney community. I feel like just Disney and sharing that is a really great way to do that, because you will get people commenting and you'll find yourself being inspired by other people. And I just really love that about our community.
Yeah, I love the community. And we're going to talk more about it in a second, but I had one more question to ask you. How do you actually decide which characters you want to do?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It really depends. So like I said, if I'm doing a group, I'm usually the more kind of laid back about it. So I have some friends will be like, I definitely want to do this. And I kind of let them, like the people who are really passionate about one thing or another, take their characters first. And then I'll just kind of see like what's left. Unless it's like a movie I'm really passionate about, then I'm like, no, I need to be this character. I also like to try to do characters I haven't done before. There are some characters that I find myself going back to over and over again. Donald Duck is one of them. We share a birthday, and I love to bound as Donald Duck. I just love him. I love meeting him in the parks because he gets so excited when you stroll up with a Donald Duck Disney bound, because the whole joke is that like he's jealous of Mickey Mouse, so he really likes the attention. So that's fun. Always a fun interaction. I really enjoy Disney bounding as Ursula because she's my favorite of all time ever. And I also love Minnie Mouse, like, because I love polka dots and patterns. And I feel like there's so much you can do with Minnie Mouse because she has so many different outfits. And she's such a fashionista that you can just kind of like go way off the grid and like out of the box with her and get really creative. But other than that, I don't really have a method for deciding who I'm going to bound. It really just comes down to what I have and what I find in stories. Like I said, if a piece speaks to me and I'm like, oh wow, this looks like the perfect Goofy, then I'll pull it for Goofy.
I don't know how I come up with my characters. A lot of times it's either I watch a movie or like I try to think of like a character that is a little obscure because I like the challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that's always fun. I want to know how you came up with what was the character from Zootopia that you did. That's still my favorite bound.
Yeah, I said I was gonna explain. Okay, so
yeah,
that's funny. So I work most nights, and I actually wasn't gonna do the Disney Bound challenge this year, and then I was kind of like scrolling through the gram, in my downtime. And I was like, oh, well, let me see if there's any characters in Zootopia that pop out to me. Maybe I'll do it. And there was, now the name is losing me, but there was one character that was like in a lab coat and scrubs. I was like, I could do that. That's easy. And so I was going to do that character, and I was kind of like scrolling through, and then I saw Yaks, and I was like, oh, can I actually do that? And then I remember that I had just taken down my daughter's box braids, and she had those beads in her hair that he was wearing.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, I can. Oh, and I have a beauty salon in my basement of just like hair.
Yeah. We all do, girl.
I was like, oh, I could make a quick little hair piece and take her beads and make a necklace out of it. And so, not like I have anything better to do. As soon as I got home, I decided to make this necklace. And I found like a little tassel I had from a purse to make the kind of the fringe at the end of the necklace. And I remembered I also had that a vest from Svenbound that I had done. And so I was like, I got nothing else. So he's a nudist. That's fine. I'll just wear that. And the rest is history.
It was so perfect. Like I lost my mind. Like literally, I was sending your picture to all of my friends. I was like, look at this perfection. Look at this.
And it was put together with some yarn and some used box braid hair.
And you know what? Some of the best bounds come from the simplest things. It's so funny because sometimes I literally just toss something together. I'm like, oh, this kind of works for Disney. I'm gonna toss it together real quick, and it gets the most attention because people are just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, it's brilliant. You just never know like what's gonna work. So
yeah, and that's what makes it so fun. It's kind of like a little challenge. Like you really have to kind of use your brain and use your creativity.
Mix things together that wouldn't necessarily go together, but
yeah, exactly. Make it work. And I love, I don't know about you, I love kind of trying to edit the actual pieces. So like if you find a piece that's almost there, but you have to put like a little bit onto it or take a little bit off or dye it, I find that too.
Yeah, I've definitely done that, and I really enjoy doing that. I had never used fabric dye before I started Disney bounding. And I think my first time dyeing a piece was Rapunzel. I did a Rapunzel a few years ago, and I found the perfect dress. It was like a peasant dress, and it had the lace up front, and I thought would make such a good Rapunzel, but it only came in white. So I went to the store, I got some purple fabric dye, and I dyed it, and it came out so good. And then the rest is history. I've been a dyeing monster ever since.
I'm actually going to go run get fabric dye after we finish our conversation.
Yep, there you go. I have like every color in my laundry.
Yeah. I'm
like, what you need, I got you. What color you need? You need a Peter Pan? I got this green.
It's like, and it's so much fun. It's, well, we're both Gemini, so we like to be creative, but yeah, I love that part about it. But let's talk about the Disneybounders community. So I feel like you're one of the, I don't want to say the godmothers. Godmothers, is that a good way to describe?
I don't know. I'd love to be a fairy godmother. I don't know if I'd say that, but I've definitely been around for a while. I've been fortunate enough to see the community grow into what it is now. And that's been really cool. It's when I first found out that, I don't even know if there was a community really. When I first found people online that were, and it was on Tumblr, I think I mentioned this earlier, that I found people that were adults that were also as into Disney as I was. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And I didn't even use Tumblr. I came across it because I had just found the Disneybound blog, and she's on Tumblr. So that's how I found out about it. And then, and then I, just started meeting more and more people, more and more people probably having the same experience that I had, realizing that there's this whole, other people like them online. And it's kind of like just a magnet. We all just kind of came to each other, and in large part we have Disneybound to thank for that, because I think that was kind of the glue that kind of, or the magnet that attracted us all to this one space. Like we all started Disneybounding and seeing each other Disneybounding, and it just kind of like jump started this community. And out of that came Disney Style, which didn't exist before, and now that's a huge blog and Instagram account, and a lot of inspiration for many of us, and a lot of other things. Dapper Day, I think, existed, but I think there had only been one, and it was very small, like the creator and like a few of his friends maybe. And that's a huge thing now in 3 different parks. So yeah, like it's really amazing to have seen it grow from just like what felt like a handful of people who were really into Disney into this huge thing. You see Disney bounding everywhere now. Like Disney, this huge corporation, is using Disney Bound in their advertisements and promoting it. And I've gotten so many great experiences to work with the company, and which is a dream come true, and something that I never even could have imagined ever happening as just a little girl loving Disney growing up. So yeah, it's a really, really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, and like we said before, like I really love how the community supports each other. Like no one's like, oh, you match that with that. That's not the right color. That's not the right fabric. It's like,
no, absolutely. And you know what? Every once in a while, you're hear someone say like, "Oh, that community is so toxic. That community is so elitist," and it's absolute BS. Because, and I think that those may be people who are too shy to put themselves out there and come into it and join it to be embraced by us. Or I don't really know what their deal is, but it boggles my mind when I hear people say things like that, because I'm like, really? Because this is the most inclusive thing I've ever been a part of, and I think it's great. We have people from all walks of life, all different shapes, sizes, orientations, ages. It's mind-blowing how different we all are, but how much we all get along and support each other, and I really love it. So you can kind of tell if there's ever like any type of negativity. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's usually someone who's not actually a part of the community. It's someone like trying to creep in and stir up some drama, and we don't have time for that.
We're too busy getting dressed.
Yeah. Like, girl,
right.
I need to go shopping.
Go dye this shirt real quick. Wow, I've never even heard that. Well, yeah, I mean, I joined the Disneybounders Unite group, and I've always seen positivity there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we actually made a rule. When I upgraded the guidelines, because like I said, we went from a group of like maybe a couple hundred to, I don't even know, like over 20,000 now. So as that happened, guidelines had to grow and be more specific. The basic rule has always just been be kind to each other. Like that, at the end of the day, it's just be nice, positivity, all that. But I had to update it and also say no rants, because one thing that used to happen is people used to come on there with their rants, and like sometimes just kind of say things like, there's just been so much negativity in this community, yet let's spread some positivity. And it's like, I understand where you're coming from. You're trying to do a good thing by saying let's spread positivity. Yes, let's do that always. But also by saying there's been so much negativity lately, and it's like, where? Why? Don't say that. Like, there hasn't been. Like, there's not really a reason to, even by saying that in this safe, positive space, you're kind of bringing negativity to it. So like, as much as possible, the other admins and I try keep that out. And when we see anything that's even kind of sideways, we just delete it, and we're just like, you know what? No, just positive or don't say nothing at all.
How hard is it managing a group that large?
It's tough, and I have to give props to Leslie and Alyssa, and Chelsea's not really on Facebook anymore, but Chelsea was our other admin, and they really help a lot, because when it was just me for a while, and then me and Leslie for a while, and it's a task, man. But it's better now. It's not as difficult anymore. And like I said, basically the group runs itself. It's not our group. Like for us, the admins, it's everyone's group. It's just a space for the community to kind of be and share our bounds and talk about bounding. So we try not to like micromanage it too much. Our basic role there is to just make sure that it stays positive and safe, and that people feel safe there.
And I love that. I mean, it's a closed group, so people probably feel a little more comfortable with sharing.
Yeah, it started out as an open group, and I think we had a few requests years ago to make it closed, because some people, I mean, you know, like I said, people from all walks of life. We have a lot of business professionals, and people who maybe were bullied or teased or whatever it is, people who in their day-to-day life don't have people who relate to their Disney side and or understand their passion for Disney bounding, and, you know, may ridicule them about it a bit or think it's silly. So having it be a closed group makes it feel very comfortable, because you know that when you're posting, everyone gets you, everyone appreciates you, so you don't have to worry about people being like, why are you dressed like that, that's silly. Like everyone's gonna be like, no, you look amazing, but like, you know, it's great.
Yeah, well, I have an Instagram account that's public, but other than that, I don't really share it anywhere else. But I mean, it's not for everyone else. It's for the people like
it's not exactly it's not for everyone. It's just, again, it's a hobby, and everyone has their hobby. It's not going to be everyone's thing. It's our thing, and that's what makes it special.
Yeah. So when did you join the Disneygram or the Disney Instagram community? Was that around the same time as you starting the Facebook group?
Yeah. I want to say that those two things kind of coincided. I'm so bad with dates, but I do want to say that I created my Instagram around the same time that I started the Disney Facebook group, and or the Disneybound Facebook group, and yeah, and it's just been a wonderful experience ever since. It's been really, really cool. It's encouraged me to blog, so I have a blog now. It has encouraged me to feel more confident about myself and get more confident taking pictures. My fashion style has grown. My friend group has grown immensely. I've made some of the best friends I've ever had in my life, people who are now my family, all thanks to Disney bounding and the internet.
Yeah. We're about the same age. So like, remember back in the day when like talking to people online was like, ooh, taboo?
It was a no. You do not. And if you do talk to people online, you do not give them your real name, and B, you do not go meet up with them. And that's literally the thing that we do now. It's like, and hey, I'm gonna be in this place. Come meet up with me.
People are getting married off the DMs and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, think about like Uber and Lyft. We're hopping in cars with strangers, and
it's true. It's true. It's like it's changed so much, and you can tell the people that remember back in the day where it was like not the thing to do, because they're like, you know,
a little more wary about it. Yeah, like this is weird, but I mean, I still feel strange, you know, like talking to someone in person. If we've planned to meet up and I know that we're expecting each other, that's one thing. But sometimes you just run into someone that you know online, and you have a mutual relationship, and you chit chat all the time, but then you see them in person, and it's almost like, do I say hi? Do I not say hi? Do we actually know each other? I don't know how this works.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like and I can imagine when you're at the park, people probably stop you often, and it's like, oh, I follow you, and you're like,
yeah, and it's amazing, and I love when that happens. It doesn't happen to me that often, but when it does happen, it's amazing, and I love meeting the people who are actually interested in hearing what I have to say, especially people who read my blog. That's the biggest flattery ever, because it's like you're actually reading the thing that I created and like reading about what I have to say. But even just people who follow me on Instagram, it's always just really nice to make new friends and to know that there are people listening and caring about the things that I post. Because I don't do it for other people. I do it for me, and I do it obviously for the community. But it's nice to feel appreciated. And I do the same thing when I see someone that I really admire and have followed for a long time, or people that I've chit chatted with online. I get so excited when I see them in person, especially at Disneyland, which is kind of the place that's brought us all together. It's really fun.
Yeah. I don't think I've had many sightings of people. I mean, I live in New York, so I don't go to the parks as often. But on my last trip, I think I might have bumped into maybe one or two people, but I don't think I really knew them that well. I might have like seen their stuff in passing, so I kind of just like give a double take, like I think I know you, but I don't. I was like, let me keep walking.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That's the other thing, is that like profile pictures can be very different than what you see in real life, or not even different, but just people change their hairstyle. I change my hair color on a practically weekly, monthly basis. So it's understandable that people don't recognize me sometimes. And so same with when I see someone, I'm like, I think that's this person that I recognize. I'm not positive. And then it's like, I don't know your real name. I know your Instagram handle. Do I just shout out your Instagram handle, or is that rude? Like, I don't know. Like, what's the protocol
right?
for
We
this?
have to make some rules.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can refer to me as this or this.
Yeah. Like, someone write me a manual.
That is so true. So your blog, do you mind telling us a little bit more about it? The types of articles you like to write, your inspiration for it?
So my blog is called Castle Cravings, and the reason I came up with that name is because I just feel like castle is so representative of so many parts of my life. One, it's referring to the Disney castle and just my cravings for the castle. So anytime I'm not at Disney and wanting to be at Disney, and kind of the magic my family and I create in between trips, whether it's, parties or themed movie nights, recipes. I also talk a lot about the parks themselves and being at the parks. So I do a lot of like park reviews. I'm starting a new section of my blog very soon, called The Boozy Godmother, where I talk about the Disney bars, because that's what my friends and I like to do when we're at the parks. Kind of go to the different Disney bars and like wine areas and sip cocktails and kind of just hang out and people watch and enjoy each other's company. So I want to also talk about that aspect. But in addition to just Disney, I left it broad because I also am a big Harry Potter fan, and Hogwarts is also a castle. I love going to Universal Studios and the Wizarding World. So I write about that. And then my home is my castle as well. Like, I'm the queen of my castle with my family, my prince and princess, and my king. And we like to just kind of talk about our daily lives as well. So it's kind of a multifaceted, like, castle cravings in the title. And yeah, I really just write about being a mom. I write about my life. I write about fashion. I write about all of the things that we've talked about here that I'm into. That's what you will find there.
How is it blogging? Does it come easy for you? Did you get used to it?
I love to write, and I have been writing my entire life. I think I won my first like creative writing award in school when I was in like maybe the second grade, and it was a really big encouragement for me. And ever since then, I've just been still writing. I have plans to finish one of the many novels I've started someday and publish. But in the meantime, I just really enjoy blogging. Part of what I love about Instagram even is writing out captions. I really enjoy kind of working through my own things that I'm going through in my own life in the public eye, because I find that other people are usually going through something similar or going through the same thing. I don't write about anything that I haven't figured out yet. Like, so if it's something that's still like that I'm still working on. I don't put that out publicly because I need to work on that, within myself. But once it's something I've worked through, I do like to share it because I, if I can, want to help other people, whether that's talking about my depression or talking about struggles and triumphs with motherhood, or just talking about Disney trips and Disney like advice and tips that I've learned over the years. I just like to share all of that.
Yeah, I do love your captions. I'm like, dang, she did such a good job writing that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Meanwhile, I'm like, hey, I'm here. I wrote something.
I mean, that's not to say that I won't still like just drop the occasional like song lyric, because sometimes I'm just in a hurry. But yeah, I like to I like to share. I just really enjoy writing. It's therapeutic for me, and I get a lot of messages from other people when they're like, man, I felt that, or I can relate. So, and that makes me feel really good.
That's cool. So the Disney social media community, you've been a part of it for a while. How have you seen it change throughout the years?
It's gotten so big. It's just so big. Well, first of all, the style is on point. Like Disneybounding, it was always cute, but I feel like when I came into it, people were just kind of just like mixing and matching colors, and it was very basic, just like the simplest form of bounding. And as we've gone on and been doing it for a while, it has just gotten next level. It's really, really huge. Another big change is more opportunities for the people in the community. You have varying levels of people who do this just for fun. You have people who do it just once in a while. You have people who make it a daily lifestyle. And then you have people who are doing this professionally, where it's like they are, I hate the word influencer because it's so weird, but like essentially, they are Disney influencers and are paid by brands to, to share Disney merch and to share experiences and to write about them. And so it's every level, and it's really great to see those opportunities given to people in our community. I know I've had personally several opportunities that, like I mentioned earlier, have just been so surreal because it's a company that I love, and it's a dream to be able to work with them. So and also other companies too reach out. They see that you have like a Disney audience and they want to tap into that audience, and it's a really cool thing. So it's been really cool seeing it grow in that way, and just kind of seeing the acknowledgement from the rest of the world and from the Disney company itself that we exist, and that this community is big and powerful and supportive of each other. I've also seen friendships forged, so many friendships, not just with my own friend group, but like so many stories of how people have met their best friends, how people have met their husbands and wives, and that's amazing to see. It's I mean, so yeah, it's grown and changed a lot, but at the same time, at its core, we're still just a bunch of Disney nerds, and I love that. I love that it's changed, but not too much.
Do you mind sharing some of your favorite experiences that have been offered to you from the community?
So this one's fresh in my mind because it's like around the 1-year anniversary of it happening. But last year for Peter Pan's, I want to say 50th anniversary. I'm not positive of the year, but I think it was the 50th. They invited Leslie Kay, who I mentioned earlier, the creator of Disneybound. They invited her and several other bounders. I think it was 100 or 200 of us to be in a Disney parade at Disney World. We got to, and I mean, there were floats, there was music. We got to Disneybound as Peter Pan characters in a parade down Main Street. And I cried. I cried like a baby so hard, because that's just, I mean, aside from being a Disney cast member in entertainment who, auditions for the parade and that's your job, that's just not something regular people get to do. And so being a part of this community, and not just that, but being able to do it with so many members of the community from both California and Florida. So many of my closest friends were there from both coasts, and it was just surreal. It was absolutely amazing. I was so proud of Leslie and all that she has accomplished, and for being able to do that. And so it was just a moment. I was just taking it in, and then we did our loop and turned back, and right before we made that final turn to go back off stage again, Leslie turns around and says, "Take it in, like this is our final loop or whatever." And when she said that, it just hit me, and I managed to keep it together until we were out of the view of the public, and then I just sobbed, like ugly cry, like full on, just sobbed. It was really cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I can only imagine, like, especially for being in the community and being a Disney bounder for so long, and then it's like, you like me, you really like me,
Yeah, and then you just you look around at the people marching with you, and you just see your friends that you've made through this amazing hobby, and other members who are a part of the community. You look into the crowd and see the same thing. You see people that you recognize from the community and online, and it's just such a special to be a part of.
Yeah. So as this community continues to grow and grow, because I don't know about you, but I feel like a new account pops up every day.
Yeah, it's really growing.
Yeah. What do you hope for the future of this community?
I say my biggest hope is that people don't lose sight of what it is we're here for, which is each other. We're here for the friendships and the magic of Disney, as cheesy as that sounds. I realized after I said that, but like legit, that's what we're here for. And I think that's kind of how it all started. Like we're all just, like I said, we're a bunch of nerds and I use that term like endearingly as like something I'm proud of, being a Disney nerd, who just love the art that this company has created so passionately that we've made it a part of our lives, and we've made it our hobby, and we put our effort and our energy into creating things for it. And that's what the Disney Instagram community is all about. And so I just hope that as we move forward, we don't lose sight of that. I know a lot of accounts pop up in hopes of those opportunities I mentioned earlier, like, making money and things like that. And that's fine, do your thing. But I hope that it remains genuine. I want it to remain genuine, and I hope that it stays a fun, safe environment for people who just really love this community.
Yeah, it's about forming friendships and finding the people that might not be in your own backyard who understand you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly that. I'd also love to see more inclusivity, which we are seeing. Definitely, we've got more and more and more POC centric accounts popping up, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I love it.
So I'm very happy about that. Yeah. So I'm very, I mean, this podcast is one of them. So kudos to you, girl. And so I'm thrilled about that, and I want to see that continue to happen, and I want to see that continue to grow, and I want to see it reflected in the Disney company itself. I want them to take note and to also push for more diversity on their own outlets as well.
You hear that, Disney? I know y'all listening. No, but I agree. Yeah. Like, we all have a voice, and we all deserve to be heard.
Absolutely.
And we all invest a lot of money into the company, so.
Yeah, we do. And I mean, Disney tries. I'm not going to say that, like, they're not being diverse. They definitely put forth a conscious effort to be diverse. But more is always great.
Definitely.
I'd love to see more. I'd love to see more and faster.
Yes, what's that Sherry movie?
Yeah.
So, what would you say is your favorite Disney moment or memory?
Mine personally, yeah, this is really hard. I feel like there's just too many. Like basically any time I've been with my kids has been a special memory. I want to say maybe this is one I kind of talk about often. When we took my daughter to see Moana, and So we were at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, and the movie started, and it starts with, baby Moana, and she's, playing with the ocean and the seashell, and that whole bit happens. And my husband and I are looking at baby Moana, and then we look over at my daughter, and we realize, like, oh my gosh, that's Zoe. That's what she looked like as a baby. And we look at each other, and we look at her, and she's just so entranced by it. And we both just kind of started, like, not like full on sobbing, but we both just kind of shed a tear, because Moana is a princess that looks like my daughter. And like, my daughter completely related to her, not just looks like her, but she totally envelops her soul, her sense of adventure, her leadership ability, her independence. And my daughter Zoe has been relating to Moana ever since. Every kid deserves to have that Disney character that, whether it's a hero or heroine or princess or whoever, like, they deserve to have that character that they can identify with and that they feel represents them. And in that moment, I think my daughter found that character for herself. Wow. And that was really special for me.
Wow, that's so amazing. She's such a great character to look up to.
Yeah, for sure. I love her.
So, what would you say is one thing about yourself that you would like everyone to know?
Something about myself, that I'm approachable. That's what I want everyone to know, is that I'm approachable, and but I'm also kind of shy, which is, I think, unexpected. When people meet me, they don't expect me to be kind of shy, because I'm so outspoken online. It's really easy to do that behind a keyboard, though, y'all. Like, when it's just you and your phone in a room, I can share whatever I want to with the world, and it's fine. But when I'm meeting people in person for the first time, I feel like I don't know what impression I give off, honestly. Like, I hope I give off an okay impression. I always try to be nice. But I do want people to know that, like, no matter what, like, whether you follow me and whether I follow you back or not, or whatever, if you see me in the park, I'm like, please don't hesitate to say hi, because I'm all about inclusion, and I do have a very close, tight-knit group of friends. And I know that can be intimidating sometimes, because people might assume, like, oh, they're going to be cliquey. We are not. I want to I don't know. I just want to meet everyone. I want to know the whole community. I want to meet everybody. I want to greet everyone with open arms, and just let them know that they're welcome here, that they're welcome in my life. And yeah, I'm such a Hufflepuff that way. Like, I know that's my crossover, but I'm just like, there's room for everyone. There's a seat for everyone at the table. We can all succeed. We can all reach our goals. Like, let's do this together.
Right. Yeah. There's room for, like you said, there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
So, your birthday's coming up real soon.
It is.
What are your plans?
I bet you can guess.
You're going to bound like Donald Duck?
I'm going to Disneyland, and I'm going to bound like Donald Duck. However did you know? Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. What are you doing for your birthday? Because yours is coming up too.
Well, I'm really excited. I don't know if I should say it or not. I randomly actually got in touch with online on social media the actress that plays Sarabi in The Lion King. Right? And I'm going to go see The Lion King on Broadway.
Oh my God.
I'm going to make sure, I'm going to meet with her afterwards, make sure she signs my playbill for my daughter.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited. I'm like,
that's incredible. Yeah. Wow. Oh my God.
Totally random.
That's so cool.
Totally random. Like,
yes. That's great. I hope to see you continue to grow, and for this podcast to just do huge things. And it's amazing. It's like really good. It's great what you're doing. I love seeing more people of color have their voices lifted. I love finding more Black women to follow in the community, and men. But it's really great. Like, for a long time, there was sort of this like void, and it wasn't that we weren't here. We've always been here. It's just that we were spread out. And I think that now we're finding each other, we're coming together, and so we're able to lift each other up more and put each other to the forefront. And that's really great. I like that.
I agree totally. I mean, I don't even know if people really thought about finding each other on social media, but now, as time is going on and they're realizing like this is a great vehicle to find other people with your interests. It's not the creepy internet like it was, in the 90s and early on.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I love it too. I love it. Like I said, almost every day I feel like I find a new one and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, I love it, and I'm gonna get it together. But hopefully, we can have a little meetup this summer. There's been a couple here and there, but the more we get to find each other and build this sub community, subculture, I think it's amazing. I think it's
yeah. I just so happened to be in Disneyland for the Black Girl Disney meetup, and that was really cool. I couldn't stay with them for long. Like I know they left and went and met Tiana afterwards, and I think they kind of hung out for a bit, but I was able to hang out with them for a little while and get a group picture, and it was just so magical. It was it was just a beautiful thing. It was just a really beautiful thing to see all that melanin and all that natural hair, natural and processed both, no discrimination.
right.
And because I've been on both ends of that spectrum, and it was just it's just such a beautiful thing to just continuously see this community grow. And for someone who's been in the community for this many years, to see so many new faces, because half of those women I had never met before. I had never seen them online, and but here they are. They're out here, and it's really great to continue to find each other and to lift each other up.
Yes, and so I'm so excited for what's to come and for what will be built. I'm really excited for that. And I just want to say thank you for putting yourself out there, as, kind of being one of those people that maybe did not have, a lot of people of color, Black people in the space, but putting yourself, maybe even if it was a little awkward for you, to be in that space. And
thank you. Yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and say there were times I never really thought about it much, but there were times when it was very much so like kind of like, oh, that one Black character, we have one of those and that's all we need, and I don't, and not to say anything about, and these aren't my actual friends wouldn't do this to me. These are people just like other internet people who maybe didn't know better. And it was kind of hard for me to speak up on it too, because I'm just like, oh, I don't know you that well. And like, I don't want to offend anyone. But now, with the support of my other Black Disney sisters, I am very much able to speak up. And don't get me wrong, I love being Tiana and I love being iridescent. I will always opt to be that Black Disney character. But more than that, I just want people to know that I'm not your only option. There are so many of us. And I think my first time like really kind of finding that home was my now like best like, she's not even my best friend, she's family, but Tiffany Lene Sutton at Follow the Yellow Brick Girl, who is basically my sister now. But our first time hanging out, she has always loved Hercules and always loved the Muses, and it was very important to her to get together a Disney-bound group of the Muses with Black women from the community. And do you know that we couldn't really find any? She reached out to me first and was like, oh yeah, help me find some Black women from the community. So far I have you, and I have Audrey Lee Young, who was on your podcast. Great episode. And she is also a great friend of mine, and it was the three of us, and that's all we knew of at that time locally, to count to Los Angeles, and to the point where I enlisted my two sisters who are also big Disney fans, and then they bound it with us. But yeah, so that's how important this movement is, and that's how much we've grown since then. Is that now there's a ton of people to pull from. It's like so many people I could just name off and be like, we're everywhere. But at that time, we really couldn't think of anyone, or like even looking through the Disney Bound group, we were like, who who else can we add to this group? So yeah, we've come a long way.
Oh, girl, you got me in my feelings. No, but it's so amazing. Like,
yeah.
We out here. We're out here.
We are out here.
Yes. I'm so happy that we're finding each other because,
yeah, me too.
That feeling of being the only one does not always feel great.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It doesn't, and I do see some people kind of thriving in that space. It's like, oh, well, if I'm the only one, then I always have a place. And it's just like, yeah, but let's not do that to each other. Let's not, don't settle for tokenism. It's not enough. Like, that's not representation.
Right. Exactly. So thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation.
It was great. Thank you so much for having me on. It was so much fun. I believe this was my first podcast. Yay! So thank you very much.
And I have so much. I have like a huge vision for this, and I'm going to do the work, I promise. So I will definitely have you either on this podcast or on a different medium very soon.
Awesome.
But until then, if people want to follow you or get to know more about you, where can they find you?
I am at Erica Enchanted on Instagram and at Erica Enchanted with an underscore at the end on Twitter. And please, please, please check out my blog. It's a growing baby, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not the most consistent, but like you said, you're going to do the work. I'm going to do the work too. And because I have places, I want to grow my blog and I have a vision for it and places I want to go. I want to get guest bloggers on there and just kind of grow it into more of a community thing. And like, I still want it to be my family, but like I have plans for it. So that's castlecravings.com. So check that out as well.
Awesome. And once again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us.
Anytime.
You just heard my conversation with Erica. Enough respect to her for being a trailblazer in this space and this community. If you're not already, please be sure to check out her Instagram page and her blog to see how truly awesome she is. I've linked those in the show notes. And for all of you seasoned and aspiring Disneybounders, come hang out in the Disneybounders Unite Facebook group. It is a great positive space to share your love of Disney bounding and Disney fashion. I've also linked that page in the show notes. And if you've never heard of Disney bounding or don't know where to start, I've also linked the Disney Bound blog in the show notes so you can see what it's all about and get some inspiration for your next Disney-related adventure. Just understand, Disney bounding is a way of life. You can do it whenever, wherever, however you want, except for the rules that we gave you on the show and the parks. Don't be that person getting kicked out because you're trying to wear a full-on Tiana costume. Just don't do it, okay? But otherwise, have fun with it. The POC small business for this episode is Geeky Garbs. It is a clothing line owned by Erica's sister, Debbie. Check out her work on Instagram at Geeky Garbs and DM her if you are interested in a commission. She sews all of her garments. I've linked her page in the show notes as well. And as always, if you've enjoyed what you've heard, please be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast with all of your friends. And also be sure to join the Afros and Pixie Dust Facebook group so we can talk more about Disney bounding and Disney fashion. So until next time, never stop deep conditioning or pursuing your happiness.